Scott. Make sure you're on mute. Make sure you're on mute. Go to your soundbar. Soundbar. Right down here. Mute everything. See the little icon? Cool.
I'm not even on
Pictures.
I'm muted.
No, you're not. It would be a line through it.
There is a line through it.
No, hit that right there. There you go. Now you're muted.
But I haven't joined I'm gonna join the computer audio.
Yeah, that's fine. You're just gonna hit mute. Hit mute down here.
Oh, I see it's muted down there too.
Your speakers are on.
Oh.
You gotta mute everything.
You mean? Come on.
Turn your, just get out of your audio. Unjoin the audio. Yeah, click on that arrow down the right. Unjoin the audio. Watch it. Get out of that.
But you're.
No, shh, go get out of that.
Yes.
Now go in here, unjoin the audio. Just unjoin it.
Turning into my dad.
I don't know how to unjoin the audio.
Right here. Call in, leave audio. There you go. Did you leave? Okay, good. All
I've
right.
been muted.
Make sure my screen.
So like 1,000 people on the Zoom.
I don't know. So it's just us three right now.
I bet there's gonna be like 1,000.
All right. Do you guys have your thing queued up on your side? You have yours ready?
I don't
Your
have
pres-
mine queued. I thought you have yours.
I do. You want me to drive it?
Yeah, drive mine, please,
Both of them.
Okay, I got.
if you don't mind.
Let's see who I got first here.
Yeah, do Chris first.
That's mine. I'm gonna close that one. That's yours.
Whoa,
Where is it?
it's a couple years old. That was from 9th grade. Who am I kidding?
This one yours?
He's Mitch, what's his last name? No, Mitch. Okay, Mitch, older guy from AT&T, is he still working there?
From AT&T?
Yeah, it was years ago.
Mitch Aber?
Oh, my goodness.
Here's Chris's, here's yours. You're okay. Yours is channel deck, yours is partner.
Thank you.
All right, y'all, we're gonna get started.
Oh, he was with Spectrum, yes.
Yeah, he went to Spectrum. Oh, Mitch Klein.
Mitchell Klein's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know him.
He's on the enterprise side. He's in enterprise sales.
Yeah.
He manages like Hendrick
I
Automotive.
should know him, but I don't.
All right, y'all.
Oh,
He was one of my managers. Great.
okay.
All right, guys, thanks for coming. This is the fourth Tacos and Technology Lunch and Learn. I've got with me Chris Cooper, Scott Cooper. They are not brothers
No relation.
Oh, we are
and
related.
share different mothers. So,
Do we?
yeah. So this is our fourth one, our Tech Tuesday that's affiliated with the Lake Norman Chamber. I'm Joseph Longway. Okay, so what is our agenda for today? So what is Tech Tuesday? Tech Tuesday is a focus on technology companies in Lake Norman area and how they can help Lake Norman businesses, especially within the Chamber of Lake Norman. So we've got some future dates set up. Then we're going to talk about my company, and then I'm going to turn it over to these guys, and then they'll drive the ship from there. So today we got Spectrum. Next week, we've got Momentum. The following, or it's going to take a couple weeks off, and then Nice in Contact, and then Epic IPO. So that'll wrap up what we've got planned. That'll take us to the end of June. Here we are, we're at Technology Tuesday. So this is kind of a slide to say, hey, this is where we are as a technology in a technology facing company. Your business should have these type of links created and generated so that you can expand your reach for your business. So who and why? What's Longway Broadband? What are we doing sitting here with Spectrum? So I'm a technology strategist. I help procure IT and telecom anywhere in the world. So how does that happen? We have tools available to us that allow us to access databases, access maps, access these folks to give us real-time information to help business owners make a decision. So what is my role in that? We mediate between the buyer and the seller. So we're a consultant. We also consult with the client, and we help build a solution with the provider, in this case, Spectrum. So what do we provide? Longway Broadband, we provide a broad expertise in technology. So whether it's internet circuits, whether it's VIOP, whether it's UCAS, whether it's CCAS, contact center solutions, whether it's SD-WAN, whether it's cybersecurity, cloud, data centers, whatever it is, I know a little bit about it, and we can get you pointed in the right direction. So we tailor our solutions for different needs. So we don't cookie cut or push people based on what they're paying us. We push upon what's best, what's in your area, how these guys are performing. And I do all of this, no cost to the buyer on the indirect sales side. So I do charge for the consulting for other stuff. So here's a little snapshot of my biggest clients, just to give you an idea. These is more enterprise, large level folks that we work with. And these are the maps that I'm talking about. This is in Knoxville, Tennessee. So I can drill down to the location and those numbers right there, that'll tell me who are the providers at that location. And what I mean providers is who has service and who is giving them service. I can tell, and then those lines, those different color lines, those are actually the fiber routes that are published that I can say, hey, they got fiber running across the street, but I also can look at those dots right there and I can say, hey, there's also some fiber or you have access to this company's services. A lot of times when real estate agents move you to a new area, they give you a packet and they say, okay, it's AT&T and Spectrum or AT&T and Comcast. You don't know what's available in your market. Obviously, there's more available than those two companies. We get into what Longway Broadband does. So there's three things what we do. We do consulting. We work for the carriers themselves. I've worked for Spectrum in the past, AT&T, Windstream, all these different companies on the carrier side, working on the project management and the construction of these networks. And then the second thing we do is we provide hardware. So I'm a wholesaler of hardware, so we sell a lot to universities, school systems, and hospitalities, particularly hotels. And then the third thing, and why these gentlemen are here, is we do indirect sales. So we help business owners and operations folks connect to these to folks like these guys and get services like VIOP, managed services, internet services. They'll go into what they do, but get into all of that stuff. So here again, here's our product lines. So it kind of stretches across everything. So we're in the internet services, the phone services, cable TV, and then it gets under the bottom line. There's in point of sale, digital signage, and security systems. So hospitality is a really big market for us. We sell a lot to hotels and upgrades and such. So here's some more stuff: cybersecurity, cloud. We can sell the access to all of the cloud vendors. IoT, that's a big thing now with all the sensors that go into different things. And of course, data center, where we house all our information for Facebook and AWS and Azure and different places. So contact center, most people don't know what a contact center is. People think of overseas stuff, but a lot of companies, especially in this area, are users of contact center technology. So we also can give you access to the actual physical labor overseas and near shore and onshore. So we can get you access to that. Then the last thing is mobility. Starlink, of course, is the hottest name in telecom because they can offer service anywhere because it's a satellite-based service, and they offer great up and down versus the cellular carriers, which are operating on a 5G network, which are about a quarter of the speed of the Starlink. So again, we all win with Longway Broadband. So now we're going to start with Chris. He's going to go and he'll present.
Thank you, Joseph. So just to kind of give you all a little background on myself, and then I'll go into the company. So my name is Chris Cooper. I've been with Time Warner Spectrum since about 2014, directly, indirectly. I sold for Time Warner Cable since about 2004. So I've been around telecommunications and technology my entire career. This is all I know. I moved to Cornelius back in 2003, so I'm very familiar with the area. Lived here for a good many years. And then moved up to Mooresville and have been there since. So love the area. My family has a business on the other side of Cornelius over here as well. So we're really engulfed in the area and just love Lake Norman as a whole. So thank you guys so much for allowing us to be here today, myself and Scott. Just to kind of give you a little background on Spectrum, we actually operate as 3 different entities. So we have Spectrum Enterprise, which is our coax related, or I'm sorry, our fiber related products, fiber internet, Ethernet, PRI, SIP trunking, managed services, Cisco, Meraki, Fortinet products, things of that nature. Also, unified communications. And then we have Spectrum Business, who Scott is representing, and I won't steal too much of his thunder, but they represent all of our coax products, high-speed internet, business class phone, and a couple other products I'll let Scott speak on there. And then also we have Spectrum Residential, which everybody is most familiar with Spectrum Residential. So a couple of advantages to working with Spectrum, especially with our partner Joseph and some other back office systems here. We got a single pane of glass. So once you actually install services and want to look at your network, we have an online portal where you can log in and look at that single pane of glass for your network. And then also, once you place an order, we just don't hand it off to a team. I think Joseph pinpointed on it earlier. A lot of times when you go into a new business or when you're going into a new space, they hand you a packet and say, well, here's Spectrum number, or here's AT&T's number, go call those guys and they'll give you service. What we do is we are actual human beings. We will physically come out and see you if we need to. We will also, once the order is placed, we will hand it off to our project management team, our order management team, and they will handle that all the way until the order is completed. At that point, our back office team for billing and our technical support team will be in place there for you as well. So we just don't hand you off and kind of throw you to the wolves and then expect you to try for yourself. We handle everything until you decide to end your relationship with us as a customer. Our most impressive feature is probably our 100% availability SLA across the countries, and that's nationwide. That's with our own footprint locations and our all footprint locations. So what that means for you as a customer, if you've got a router that goes down, let's say you have a piece of Cisco Meraki gear, let's say that refrigerator over there across the room for the folks sitting in the room had some type of temperature gauge inside of it that you could log into and make sure that temperature stayed that degree at all time. A lot of restaurants have this feature in freezers and refrigerators. Well, if that AP went down, we've got 4 hours to replace that AP. Cisco Meraki doesn't have that. They don't have that type of aggressive SLA. Theirs is a 24-hour drop ship. So Meraki and Fortinet both have SLAs, but it's not near as aggressive as ours. So that's one of the benefits you get when going with our managed services, as well as our enterprise services, is that 100% uptime and then that 4-hour mean time to repair. A few of the products that we handle on the enterprise side, I touched on earlier, but our internet products, fiber internet, we go from 20 meg all the way up to 100 gig now. We have wireless internet. We use the cradle point device. So we use wireless internet and then wireless internet backup. Wireless internet is for like a temporary solution or a solution where you may have a construction trailer where you need a trailer where you need internet and it's kind of remote. We have that option. And then wireless internet backup is a feature we use on top of our fiber internet. So if we ever lost fiber internet access or we lost power, we would have that wireless internet backup feature with a battery backup on top of that to kind of help you limp along until we get back up in operation. And then Scott's team has a business internet. And then also on our side, we've got type 2 and fished internet. So for off-net services in places that we do not directly have fiber in place in that building or in that area, we can partner with some of these other carriers like a Comcast or a Cox or a MediaCom and lease the last mile from those guys and still install services. We will have our equipment on site, and then we will still also provide our same 100% availability and then 4-hour mean time to repair on that SLA too. So that's very important there. Managed services, I touched on this a minute ago, Cisco, Meraki, and then Fortinet. We both support all their entire platform and portfolio of equipment. DDoS protection, that's a really big point. Most recently, we had a university in the state of North Carolina where a student was unhappy with his class, he was unhappy with his grades, and then he had a bad exam. Well, instead of just working hard and doing the right thing, he actually went online and paid $14.99 for a DDoS attack that completely locked up the entire university's network. No one could get online, no one could do anything for the network. So basically what we had to do, they engaged us at that time because they had our fiber internet. We went into protection mode for DDoS. We mitigated all the viruses and all the bad traffic, and then allowed the university to still be up and operational as we were negotiating for those guys. So that was huge for them. The downtime was minimal, and they also took that student's tuition that they kicked him out of school, and they took his tuition and paid for all that mitigation. So just a kind of a case study there. I always think that one stands out because it's a real life scenario that we've all dealt with at some point in time. Our WAN services, again, we do Ethernet. That's layer 2 services, not on the public internet, wavelengths up to 100 gig. And then as Joseph pinpointed earlier, we can also do Cloud Connect, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Connect, as well as IBM. And then voice services, PRI, SIP, Unified Communications. We partner with Ring Central on a lot of these things. And then also a few of these boxes, if you need some type of cable TV in addition to your enterprise services, we can support that as long as it's ordered at the same time those enterprise services are. And then again, here's some of our off-net information that we talked about. Just because we don't actually have fiber in that specific territory doesn't mean we can't service it. So we can do type 2 internet, again, speeds from 20 meg up to 100 gig supported. We can also do some HSD options on that bulk side if you're looking at, if you've got some off-net services in that area as well. And then again, our SLA. I talk about this all the time because this is so huge. I will put this SLA up against any other carrier and it'll beat it all day. So again, you can see here on the screen there, latency, jitter, everything is minimal. Again, mean time to repair is 4 hours. I always make that a huge priority when I talk about these things because if our business is down, we're not making money. So it's important for us to be up. And if we can't be up, we've got to have options and we've got to have plans in place in order to get us back up. And then here's a promotion also. This is kind of a promotion that we've used to help customers transition from another carrier to ours. So basically what this means is any of these services on the board here, any of our enterprise services, you will receive 3 months free. That's 0 billing on the first 3 full months of service there. So let's say you have another carrier and you're under contract with those guys for another month, but you really need to transition, you want to move away. We can help facilitate that with a 3 months free promotion. And then, of course, winning with Spectrum. Let's go to the next one here. These are a couple case studies that I have, and I like to use case studies because they're real life scenarios. You guys are all business owners, so you can relate to these in one way or another. We all notice we've got a lot of dealerships. I believe Mr. Randy Marion is a huge part of what the chamber is as well. So we are extremely familiar with all the dealers. This is not his, but this is another dealer here in the Carolinas. So again, they had a few issues there. They had new construction. They had some old antiquated networks. They had some gear that was outdated. And then they had a lot of different technologies as well, a lot of different carriers, a lot of different technologies that weren't exactly syncing together. Wi-Fi is a huge part of everybody's business at this point, especially in the auto world, because a lot of folks are getting their cars detailed or some type of mechanical work done to it. And so they're sitting there in the waiting room. They need to be able to work. And what's more frustrating than us sitting in the corner of a room and not having any connectivity at all? So with this dealership, that was one of their huge priorities, is they wanted to make sure their customer experiences were top notch and they had connectivity across the entire network. No matter if the customer was walking around their lot, talking on the phone or using their computer, they had connectivity all the way around. So again, the relationship was there. We were able to control the OpEx and provide a lot of capital to redesign the network. And then also, again, relationships always win with these things. Again, here's kind of the blueprint of how it was here. I don't want to go too far into it, but we use the Cisco Meraki gear. And then here's a network in Las Vegas. If you guys are familiar with Las Vegas, MGM just had a huge network takeover. Like basically somebody logged in through one of their APs somewhere and pretty much locked up their entire network. They couldn't do only inline gambling. They couldn't get on network. They couldn't do anything. So we had a situation similar to that MGM here, where the customer had a lot of different technology. They had a lot of issues with security. A lot of things were being hacked. A lot of their network were continuing to lose service because of these issues. So we basically revamped their entire network. We've provided a solution, and a big secure solution that would work for those guys, and no one will be able to log in and destroy that network for those guys again. Here's the design we laid out here. We use the Fortinet network because this was a little bit bigger customer. For bigger bandwidth solutions, we like to use Fortinet. For smaller bandwidth solutions, we like to use Meraki. So again, I'm not going to go through here, Joseph, but if you can go into the next one for me. And then here's another training center. I think we talked earlier about call center applications and then also journeyman applications here. So a couple problems. They opened a few new facilities. They had limited IT staff. They needed some type of managed services. And then they also had that security concern, which a lot of folks are having today, with the internet being the main way we communicate. It just happens that security is a big threat there. So what we've done for this customer, again, they had 10 different sites. So we went into each site, we evaluated what they have, and then most importantly, we listened to what they wanted. So they didn't have a big staff. So what our managed services allows you to do is allow you to manage it. Again, we're going back to that one single pane of glass. So any IT director or anybody on site can log in and see everything's up and operational. We don't have any issues here. And it allows you not to have to go to each site and monitor each site. Also, we're an extended footprint of your back office as well. So just because you don't have the IT staff on site doesn't mean that we can't back you up. So our team behind me, I have a network team of engineers. We've got on-call technicians. We've got just unlimited resources for support for these type of situations. And so if you don't have a huge staff, we can take that and we can bottle that up to where we can manage all those services for you. Your IT vendor, like Joseph, can manage those services for you, or you can manage them themselves if you want to take on that task. So again, with these guys here, that's kind of how we tailored the solution. They needed Wi-Fi in all buildings as well. So we all made that happen for them. And then here's a diagram of the blueprint. And then one more here, and then I'll move on to Scott. But again, I like using these case studies because they are real life solutions. So we had a big digital copier and imaging company. Those guys are huge. They sell big machines, and they've got a lot of inventory, and they've got a lot of back office kind of footwork going on. So again, they had old technology. MPLS is old technology we had from the internet. We're moving to SD-WAN and a more streamlined, more secure network. They needed redundancy, which we all do. And then they had a limited IT staff. Again, is one thing that we see recurring is resources and limited IT staff. So we controlled that OpEx. We made sure that we found savings to roll into the new solution. And then we also provided a one account team for these folks. Once you on board with Spectrum and your account bills more than $7,500 a month, you get a dedicated customer support team that handles all support needs, whether it be technical support or customer support, billing, the whole nine. And if you don't have 7,500 or before or above, we do have a dedicated staff on site for you, but it's just at random. They're all located in Charlotte, North Carolina as well. I think that's a big thing to port out. All of Spectrum support is located in the continental United States. We do have a little piece in Hawaii, but that's because we do have service in Hawaii. So that's why I do say continental. All of our call centers are located in the United States. I believe they're in Missouri and in Charlotte, North Carolina. Scott, keep me honest on those. But man, it's so prideful to say that everything's located in the continental US. And when you pick up the phone, you get someone that actually knows what you're talking about, and we can understand each other too.
Right.
So,
another good thing about what you've shown here, Chris, is the second line on them. It says 4-site SD-WAN. So it says 1-site fiber, 3-site coax. What does that mean? That means that his side of the business, which is another side of the business, which is coax, they are running on 2 separate networks. Even though it's Spectrum, they operate separately. So he brings in his network and he brings in his coax. So an SD-WAN is like a 1 + 1 = 2. So you essentially have, when you put this router in, which is called an SD-WAN, a software-defined router, it enables the speed to go from like 1 gig to maybe 1.5 gigs. And you combine the circuit, and then you have what they call QoS, quality of service. So that enables different applications. So we're using Zoom, for example. It'll push Zoom to the very top, and that'll allow us to have 0 bumps of the road if you're using an SD-WAN, because there's no packet loss or jitter when you utilize an SD-WAN. That's the benefit of an SD-WAN. And of course, Spectrum offers the unique option where you can get a fiber and 3 coaxes, the one fiber, and then have the backups being coax as your backup circuits. And that helps because, generally you want to have 2 different carriers, but they have two different networks. So they operate one coax, so the fiber may go down, but the coax may be up, even though it's the same company. That may not make sense to anybody, but they operate as 2 separate entities in a sense, fiber and coax. So I just wanted to explain that a little bit more and how good the Spectrum opportunity is when you want to do an SD-WAN, because generally you either get a wireless backup or you get a coax backup, a least expensive option versus a fiber one. So you don't want to have necessarily 2 expensive options plugged into the SD-WAN. You might want to have one good one and not a bad one, just a backup that can back up essentially.
Cost effective.
Cost effective.
Right. We also have lots of customers that have fiber coax and that 4G backup solution there. So they have 3 different points of failure, and just in case they lose service. And then again, here's kind of the diagram, how we work through there. And we can share these slides after, just in case folks want to dive into those. I know it's a lot of.
I'll explain these quick here. So what we're showing is here is the old network, what he referenced was called a WAN, wide area network. The wide area network meaning you physically had to be connected to every site. And then it had to go back to a central point, a data center, a server in the back room, essentially. Now with SD-WAN and new technology, you can deliver site just to this building per se. And then once it connects to the internet, all the information then is pointed to the cloud. That's the cloud there. And then, so then all your connections, so you don't have to be physically connected like you used to be in the past. You had to be physically connected to each location. So if, let's say Lake Norman had many locations, for each Lake Norman place to talk to each other, they had to be physically connected to a server someplace, whether it be in a data center or in a closet someplace. And now with the new technology, it's in a cloud. So you just connect to the internet, all of Spectrum's services pop up, and then of course it saves to the cloud. So that's the great thing about the newer technology of cloud.
You guys purposely differentiating the run?
Say that again?
You guys purposely differentiating the run?
Yeah, there's no more run anymore. It's you have in the SD-WAN case, you have a coax and a fiber, two the same product, but two different products. So when you say different,
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of customers like that diversity.
dual entry, it's called. Yeah.
So you got dual entry into the building as
Yeah.
well as different runs into
Yeah.
city.
We can go as far as hub diversity. We can do it a complete route diversity where those 2 paths never touch each other. Yes, sir. If you need that type of solution, we can absolutely design it.
I have a client in Concord, has Spectrum fiber and 2 separate fiber runs coming to the building from different directions down the street. So.
We do that for data centers a good bit with a lot of customers.
Two
Just-
different
Yeah,
networks.
Wow,
that's big.
nice.
Yeah, so, and just kind of, you don't have to show, that's kind of for your back office support.
All right.
You're good. But I just just a takeaway from the Spectrum Enterprise team, I don't want you to think of as just a residential cable TV product anymore. When you think of Spectrum, think of a more robust product, fiber, a fiber solution for hospitals and monstrous companies. We are in that sector and we do well in that world. And so just keep that in mind. As far as resources, myself and Joseph are here to help with anything or any questions you may have. And then our team is dedicated. Again, I've got multiple links of support here in Charlotte and local teams as well for you too. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, Scott's up now.
Well, you could have left that.
Oh, here, I'll let you see.
Yeah,
it.
pretty
That's,
much.
High school was a good time. No, I appreciate that. Just a little bit of background on me, like Chris, I started on the direct side with Spectrum as an outside sales rep about 15 years ago, and worked in our government education sector for a couple years as well, and then moved to what we call the indirect channel, where we work with folks like these guys that sell our service through their businesses and make a residual on that. So it's been really a neat time. And the last 8 years, I guess I've been on the coax, or what we call SMB side, work with a lot of small and medium-sized businesses. Our coax service and our coax products are all month to month. There's no contracts, there's no paperwork to be signed. And frankly, our customers really like that because they're not getting into a commitment. Typically, when people get our internet, our coax internet, they really like it because it's a lot of bang for the buck, as we call it. It's really inexpensive, usually the best price in most markets. Some bigger markets, you think of New York City, Orlando, Tampa, those kinds of areas. There's Kansas City, a little more competitive with other providers. So we've dropped our pricing even then in those markets. Charlotte, the greater Charlotte area, or really the Carolinas, is a big area for us where we have a lot of plant. And I mean, we have plant in 41 states total, like Chris said, including Hawaii. And, so we can get service, wherever we have footprint, really, on the coax SMB side. So,
Excellent. Metro E.
yes,
sir.
Go ahead.
No, Metro E, it's basically a blanket Ethernet product at this point. It's not really, we don't do an intra-LATA and inter-LATA anymore. If we do, we do some form fill outs just for some tax purposes, but for the most part, it's just blanket Ethernet anymore. Yeah.
And Chris and I do share a last name, and we might not be related directly, but down the lineage, we think there's something.
100%. I don't want to take your thunder, but this is the first time Scott and I have actually physically sat in the same room together, and him and I communicate all the time. We hold events together, but like he jumps to one event and I was like, okay, you got that one. I'll get this one for you. So we've always hopped around, but like him and I, like he said, we're like brothers from another mother somewhere, and somewhere down the line, like it all syncs up. So it's so awesome.
Yes,
Y'all are very privileged.
Yeah, I don't know about that,
Thank
but
you.
it's really cool. Like I get excited.
very well said. Thank you for that. Okay, yes. Oh, yeah. So I mean, here's just some kind of generic numbers you can kind of see. We have our big play obviously is our coax internet, which we have 300 by 10, which really fits any small business. 600 by 35, our middle tier, which we call really the best bang for the buck. In certain markets, in this area, you're looking at $115 a month for, you could have easily for 20, 25 employees could use that, or our higher tier is the gig 940 over 35. So
let me stop you right there. So
Please.
he's talking about business, not residential. So there's a
Correct.
big differentiator between residential and business. So residential is not guaranteed. It's what they call best effort. And they oversubscribe. Business is a guarantee. You get an SLA, and that's what you buy, is what you get essentially when it's available. And that's kind of what we're getting at here. So the numbers there are great representation of the size and scope of spectrum.
yes,
Why is it different from residential business? Why is residential?
that's a great question. And the reason it's different, really, the biggest difference is the support side. Your residents, you lose your power. Let's say it's a bad storm, comes through and knocks our cable lines down or what have you. They're going to come maybe Monday morning. If it's your business and you get loss of power on a Friday night, say, as an example, they're going to come at Saturday morning probably to come. So the support side is the biggest difference. And I mean, the cost is fairly similar, but the biggest difference is on that support side.
I would say the oversubscription too, right? I mean, just basically.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really talk, I haven't worked on the residential side, but I know the biggest difference, we're one big company, we treat it differently. And, so, yeah, I mean, the shared thing about, residents and neighborhoods and whatnot, if we can bring service, it's going to be good service. I'm not saying it's not, it's going to be very good service. I have Spectrum at my home and enjoy it quite a bit. That said, we can, I don't know where I'm going with that. We can bring business service to a residence, which happened, of course, during the pandemic. we brought a lot of our business services to residential locations. As an example, the CPA that works from home, right? They need a static IP. Well, you can't have a static IP when you have a residential service. It's not, we can't accommodate that. You can on a business circuit. And a lot of people, because it's fairly inexpensive, they'll keep their residential service, but no, mom works from home, has a CPA business, or dad is the CEO of XYZ company. He wants a Spectrum business circuit, needs an IP address. So we can have business and residential in one home because it's a work from home.
Yeah,
That makes
I've
sense.
sold
Sure.
the circuits at the house as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's fairly common this day and age where people, might have a side business that they run from their home and need a Spectrum coax circuit, maybe even a landline there for business. Very inexpensive. Our phone lines, when you bundle it with our business internet, is $20 a line per month, and that's unlimited calling in the US and Canada. I mean, it's a really inexpensive play.
Plus they got the mobile, so that's a.
And the mobile piece, of course, yeah. Say yes to one provider coast to coast. We kind of touched on, Chris really touched on it with the our fiber all over the country. Same thing with our coax, in those states that we have our service on the coax broadband side, up to Washington State, down to, Orlando, Florida, right? And up into Maine to Arizona. That's crossing, yeah. Industry leader, you can read that. Spectrum Partner Program, of course, a lot of accolades over the years.
Yeah, so basically we were voted like the top partner in the channel world. We got a direct world and a channel world, and the channel world Spectrum is for lack of a better term, one of the top dogs. We receive a lot of accolades and a lot of awards because of the business we put forth and the network we have in place, and then also the community we have in place too. On our side, Michelle Katalicek, who was a huge player in this community, and the Women of Channel Network. I hope you've had the pleasure to meet Michelle. She's located here in Charlotte, but she's amazing. She's our VP of our channel, and she's just such an amazing ambassador for Spectrum as a whole, and how she carries herself. And it brings a lot of attention to the company, and we win a good many awards because of the service that we provide. So that's kind of what those awards and accolades are showing.
Yeah, absolutely. And no doubt about it. And those are just some things that have come with time, and it's like anything else. You kind of have to, we like to say we have to prove ourselves to each client, and that's why, on the coax side, we have month-to-month contracts. We have to sort of prove our worth month to month, if you will. Not to sound too salesy, but we're going with that. So you can see our products: business internet, business voice, basically a landline, our acronym, because there's so many acronyms, BCP, business class phone. We also have a partnership with Ring Central for what we have for our hosted voice, which are the same price, and we call it Spectrum Business Connect. So that's a neat thing. Business TV, we think of a lot of bars and restaurants, have our TV service. You'll see it in waiting rooms, different areas. A lot of businesses like to have our TVs, in dentist's office or whatnot, waiting rooms. Spectrum Mobile is a big piece of our business as well, where the only on our business, our broadband side, SMB side, per account, you can have as many as 10 mobile lines for a business. They have to have our coax internet in order to do that. So, and then the last product there, wireless internet backup. Chris touched upon it. It's been in the fiber space, the enterprise space, for years. It's fairly new to ours. It's $20, and it's a cradle point device that is a kind of an emergency backup plan, peace of mind, we call it, for a small business that has an outage, that sort of thing. You can have that in play for $20. So I think you can see the enterprise business, all their products there. Chris went in depth on that, really enjoyed hearing that. And then to the right, the location residential. And that's where our partners that are in this room can reach out and sell multi-dwelling units, which people think of as apartment complexes, where they can sell residential services to those, if they have a relationship with an apartment, they hand that off to our community solutions team and let them get them the best pricing they can, and they can get a nice compensation on that sort of thing.
Like a smart city, like like we're working on one down in the Daytona area where they're lighting up an entire, water park type application.
Right.
So if you got a smart city type where you got a community like Disney World, things like that, our community resources team allows you to where before we weren't able to have that door open on the channel side, and now we do. So that's a resource for you guys, you and Joseph, to make some extra.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just kind of an overview of what we've been saying on the coax side. Like I say, 300 megs up to a gig right now. And then down the road, we're gonna have symmetrical bandwidth on the coax side. 300 by 300, gig by gig. That's coming down the pipe, probably the end of 2024, maybe into 2025. You guys heard a lot about our enterprise fiber, our network, and kind of like Chris talked about, we a lot of customers like that we can integrate with the enterprise team. The enterprise support team is second to none. I mean, when we have what we call a hybrid order, coax and fiber, it goes through their support team, which is great because then it's taken care of very quickly. And one thing I haven't touched upon is that if Spectrum is, if a client is a little bit in a more rural area, say, like maybe Denver outside of Charlotte here in North Carolina, and there requires a build out, Spectrum will, on the business side, will pay the first $10,000 toward a build. So if the build is under 10K, all the customer has to do is say, yeah, I'm okay with this 21-day timeline or whatever it should be. Proceed, please, and an email or a phone call to our construction team, and the order will proceed. If it's $10,050, they would have to, if they wanted to proceed, they would have to pay the difference in cost if they wanted our service. In that, we've seen that quite a bit. And the other thing, and I'll be very quick, is on a multi-location, if somebody, I'm working on a large multi-location right now, and we use the term leverage the build out. So you might have like you have a lot of locations that are on net serviceable. You can leverage those, what we call green locations, to leverage an orange location that might have 25K in build out costs. Those green ones will pay for Spectrum to go out and build to that other location that needs more construction. So just wanted to pass that along.
Good information.
Thank you. You can go to the next slide if you'd like. So there's the slide. Together we can grow your business, meet client demand. That's what we're here for. If you got any questions.
So
we'll be
I'll just
happy-
start with one here, just for you guys. Scott, so,
Yes.
we have internet, let's say 1 gig internet for coax. What's the price? Rack rate.
Well,
On net rack rate price.
well, rack rate is deceiving because rack rate is what somebody pays when they upgrade their
Advertised price.
service.
What's the advertised?
We call that the acquisition price.
Okay.
I feel like a school teacher, sorry. But the acquisition price, I believe, when you bundle it, is $129. When it's by itself, it's $145,
Okay.
$144.99.
So $150.
Yes,
Chris, what is the
Okay.
price of 1 gig of fiber? I just want to show the discrepancy of fiber
Yes.
versus coax.
thank you.
Yep,
Go
on
ahead.
that solution is about $1,000.
So you got a $1,000 circuit and a $150 circuit. So what do you think is the benefit of each, right? We just gone through all that stuff, right? Fiber is a long range, guaranteed type of network. Coax is more of a
Best effort.
urban
Mhm.
urban network and the best effort. So you have different things written in your SLA, and you use and also fiber has the same up and down as well. So you have,
Symmetrical speeds.
they call it
yes.
symmetrical. So you have 1 gig up, 1 gig down,
Mhm.
whereas a coax is very high up and a minimal not a minimal, but a lower down speed. That's kind of the two differences of the circuits. That's not talking about the other stuff. That's just the circuit. So I want to kind of show that to say, hey, there is a two different networks essentially, and they operate independently. Now, if you want to buy TV, you used to be able to only buy TV on the coax side. I don't think you can buy it on the.
We'll facilitate it as long as you order it with other services. So if you order the fiber internet or the fiber enterprise services with that Spectrum TV and Spectrum coax services, we can put it on the same bill.
Okay,
But
yeah.
it has to be done at the same time.
Yeah.
For that billing network.
Yeah, and I'll just to answer your question about coax versus fiber, Chris, help me out here, but on the enterprise fiber side, you're looking at like hospital, a hotel, a large kind of player typically, not always. Sometimes it could be a small architecture firm
Right.
that has these huge CAD files.
Yes.
Or, somebody that's like a small dentist or doctor's office with x-rays and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Whereas for coax, you're looking at more of maybe an attorney's office or a bakery or a bar, or restaurant type of situation.
Yeah,
Small
different
business.
applications, different uses.
Absolutely.
So we're seeing veterinarian clinics becoming more and more in need of fiber because they're using this huge imaging machines in there now. And in order for them to upload it from this machine to this one, they've got to have a guaranteed uptime on bandwidth, right?
Good
And
point.
sometimes coax will drop, it'll refresh, it'll do things like that. And fiber has to stay up, like it is guaranteed to stay up for X amount of time. So when
Absolutely.
you're communicating from one point to another, that there's no disruption in that communication.
Large churches that stream.
Yes.
It's,
The
it's a
pandemic, we
big
saw that
need,
huge
yeah, for,
elevation.
yeah, for fiber, so.
Mhm. Elevation's a big customer of ours and they put 10 gig everywhere.
The other thing I wanted to mention is we do have some raffle prizes.
All right, somebody's gonna
Yeah,
win something here.
Somebody's gonna get some nice.
There we go. There we go.
All right, do we got any questions from the field here? We don't? We'll turn the Zoom off and go about our business here.
Are we turning the Zoom off?
We good? We good? Well, thank you for coming
Thanks.
to the fourth Tech Tuesday, and I appreciate your time. I will talk to you the next time on May the 28th or June 18th. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you.